Lesson 12 for September 14 through to 20, To Love Mercy, read by Dr. Percy Harold. Wednesday, September 18, Peacemaking. Question, read Matthew chapter 5, verse 9. In the kind of world we live in, how do we do what Jesus says here? Ultimately, how successful can we be? First of all, Matthew 5, verse 9, Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called children of God. And then we're asked to look at Mark chapter 13, verse 7. When you hear of wars and rumours of wars, do not be alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. Violent conflict is a significant cause of suffering. Included in the costs of war are the direct victims and shattered lives, the attention and resources devoted to military machinery that would be better diverted to alleviating other human needs, and the ongoing suffering of war survivors and veterans, even among the victors. Then there are the many smaller conflicts that scar countless lives in families and communities. As such, a passion for justice cannot ignore the mandate to peacemaking. At the heart of the gospel of Jesus is God's gracious and grand act of peacemaking, reconciling sinful human beings to their Creator, as we read in 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verses 18 to 21. All this is from God, who reconciled us to himself through Christ and gave us the ministry of reconciliation, that God was reconciling the world to himself in Christ, not counting people's sins against them, and he has committed to us the message of reconciliation. We are therefore Christ's ambassadors, as though God were making his appeal through us. We implore you on Christ's behalf, be reconciled to God. God made him who had no sin to be sin for us, so that in him we might become the righteousness of God. And the reconciliation we receive becomes the pattern for us to be ambassadors for this reconciliation for others as well. Question, read Isaiah chapter 52, verse 7. How do we live out this text too? Isaiah 58, verse 7. How beautiful on the mountains are the feet of those who bring good news, who proclaim peace, who bring good tidings, who proclaim salvation, who say to Zion, Your God reigns. The gospel of peace also becomes the motivation, pattern, and resource for working for peace in our violent world. As Ellen White writes in Thoughts from the Mount of Blessing, page 28, the heart that is in harmony with God is a partaker of the peace of heaven and will diffuse its blessed influence on all around. The spirit of peace will rest like dew upon the hearts weary and troubled with worldly strife. End of quote. In the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus said in Matthew 5:9, Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Taking this further, not only did he affirm the commandment against killing, he said that we should not be angry or hold a grudge, and that we should love our enemies and pray for those who persecute us, meaning that we should take active steps to seek their good. Let's look at two sets of texts here, Matthew chapter 5, verses 21 to 26, and verses 43 to 48. First of all, Matthew 5:21. You have heard that it was said to those of old, You shall not murder, and whoever murders will be in danger of the judgment. But I say to you that whoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment, and whoever says to his brother, Raca, shall be in danger of the council. But whoever says, You fool, shall be in danger of hell fire. Therefore, if you bring your gift to the altar, and there remember that your brother has something against you, leave your gift there before the altar and go your way. First be reconciled to your brother, and then come and offer your gift. Agree with your adversary quickly, while you're on the way with him, lest your adversary deliver you to the judge hand you over to the officer, and you be thrown in prison. Assuredly, I say to you, you will by no means get out of there till you have paid the last penny, and verses 43 to 48. You have heard that it was said, you shall love your neighbour and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies, bless those who curse you, do good to those who hate you, and pray for those who spitefully use you and persecute you, that you may be sons of your Father in heaven. For he makes his sun rise on the evil and on the good, and sends rain on the just and on the unjust. For if you love those who love you, what reward have you? Do not even the tax collectors do the same? And if you greet your brethren only, what do you do more than others? Do not even the tax collectors do so? Therefore you shall be perfect, just as your Father in heaven is perfect. There are many inspiring stories of people who have devoted their lives to peacemaking in the world's trouble spots, bringing glimpses of reconciliation and healing, and often alleviating much of the injustice and suffering these conflicts have brought. So, to finish today, what are ways that your church, at its local level, could act in the role of peacemaker? You have been listening to a reading of the Adult Sabbath School Bible Study Guide by Dr. Percy Harold from Queensland, Australia. This service is brought to you by Hope Channel, the Sabbath School Department, and Christian Services for the Blind. Remember, God is always faithful.